Y, Z by a certain date, but then what else can I do to kind of expand my role, link that to my development, get that exposure and that visibility and add different kind of things to my toolkit.
Yeah.
What does it all mean, I guess? Where am I supposed to be going, apart from, you know, doing my laundry every day?
Yeah, so you want that really clear link between the goal as you set it at whatever point in the year with then what your actions as you and development going forward and where perhaps you want to go next.
So it doesn't tie in, like as you said, on the functional or the career ladder. So if the manager is sitting with the employee and saying, you know, you're currently at this level on your career ladder, this is what we need to improve on, and if you want to go to the next level, this is what we should start working towards. So it's a focused approach together, and it's going through it so that removes any resentment when an employee says, we are two people, we are doing the same job, why is he on a PhD 22, why is he on a 23, why is he on 24?
So let's ask you all a quick show of hands here. That way you describe that, so you know, say I'm your employee, I'm a grade X, I want to be grade Y, I'm on a career ladder, and you describe the conversation between you and me around, okay, you want to get to the next level in the career ladder, this is what you need to do to get there. How well, those of you who've had conversations like that, how many have had conversations like that, first of all, specific conversations like that?
I've tried to, and it's not done well.
Right. And my next question was going to be, and how many of you had that where it's worked well and you've been very clear about what to do next to get to the next? Okay.
I had once only because I cornered the general manager. Actually, I said, I need half an hour of your time. And I took him in the room and I said, can you describe to me your career? How did you go about your career? What did you do? What challenges you faced and where were your stumbling blocks?
Well,
and where do you see me going in the next 5 years? I literally cornered him in a room.
but that was some of the advice that I received. So you know, some of the advice I received from my mentor was basically you do need to pin down your manager in terms of getting them to outline what a 2+ looks like, what a 1 looks like, how you're going to get to that next level, and it comes back to the same theme. There are structures in place, but there's this other informal approach that seems to be there. That means that, you know, in order for you to get to that next level, you need to have this informal discussion with your manager, or corner them to giving you an answer, rather than having, you know, okay, we'll sit down and we'll set your goals and we'll have that open
Rather than it happening naturally to and with you have to force it.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry to talk over there, but it's
there's definitely a shadow network.
Yeah.
Okay. What else could be done differently to make goal setting more helpful to you?
Have a fixed number of, well, not fixed, have a small set of goals rather than endless list, and say, these are your most important, these are the, if you get round to it, and these are the not so important ones. Like my PMP is essentially my manager's manager's manager, he writes his up, and then the manager below that writes below. By the time it gets down to me, it's a book. And if you read mine the other year, they'll just say, well, you haven't done that. I say, well, I've got nothing to do with this. You know, it's 3 managers up who set these lofty goals.
So you're seeing a cascade of all these goals hitting your PMP. It sounds to me like the process is absolutely dominating, and it's all ending up on your PMP form without prioritisation, stripping it down to the most important, critical few.
I've had different types of supervisors. I've had ones that say, I'll just ignore all that. You know, let's do a focused PMP on the work you're doing. Of course, it's relevant to what the enterprise wants. My current supervisor, he loves the whole book thing. He thinks the longer you make it, the better.
Sorry, I get so excited.
and I've tried to say, don't you want it more condensed? He goes, no, you know, because I need to all cascade up through the corporation.
Yeah, my PNP going back and forth with my supervisor 3, 4, 5 times. He's saying, okay, you talk about this now again. I've done that, no, it's not correct, again doing this. He wants to see the whole story behind every single work I'm doing. Even if it's 4 lines, but I have to elaborate that maybe 20 lines or 40 lines so that he can see exactly step by step what I've done.
Can you, one time, something I also feel that we as employees don't help ourselves also. Because we go in for a PMP discussion and a manager asks, so how has it been, you know, what has been the work scope, what has been done? And you're not able to elaborate on it. You say, oh, I've done everything that you're asking for, but what? what have you done in the year? Everyday routine work, yes, everybody is doing it. But what have you been, what is something you've done? How can you prove it to a manager at the end of the year, this is what I've done? And one of the tools which we informally developed in our team, and only 2 or 3 people complied with it, was we said, okay, let's start writing on a daily basis. In SharePoint, we started capturing what is the work we are doing on an everyday basis, capturing my work list. So at the end of the year, when I went in for my PMP with the manager, I said, here is my work list. This is the work I've been doing in the whole year. Anything you feel I can do better or I'm not doing.
Yeah.
There was no way of him saying, oh, you haven't done this, you haven't done this. It's all here.
Okay.
I've got a work list.
You do too.
Well, I do a travel work list, because I do 99.9% of the travel.
I think
You've got something, a live
but
document.
this doesn't that feel wrong? Like,
Yeah, it is, because
doesn't
there's
it
no
feel
one
wrong
there.
writing down what you do every day,
I
and
have
then
to.
getting to the end of the year saying, look, this is what your manager know what you've been doing,
They hear me.
throughout the year,
Yeah.
rather than at the end of the year.
So again, we've heard a great example earlier from Steve, who's saying, this is what works better instead. Sometimes I've had this, sometimes I haven't, which is prioritise goals, really focused on what I need to achieve, etc., etc. Let's come back to more ideas around that. What could it look like instead then? You said, doesn't this feel wrong that you're right? What could it look like instead?
So more routine updates with your manager. So it can be, rather than at the end of the year or mid-year, something that, your manager should know what you're doing. It shouldn't have to be, either he's managing too many people, so, if you need to be updating what you've done at the end of the year, either he's managing too many people and not monitoring it properly.
But then you could maybe have a sub-supervisor. If it's a big, large group,
Yeah.
and he can't get around everyone, then maybe you could have a manager over those people, some sort of coordinator, so at least everyone's having monthly meetings and everyone knows what you're doing.
But at the same time,
They don't
at the
know.
same time, I know having a meeting all the time, but it should be just an informal chat.
That's what, ours are downstairs, it's 20 minutes informal chat.
Every month or so, saying, this is what I'm doing. Kind of have some advice that, or where do you think things are going right or when they're going wrong.
Yeah, we have a monthly meeting.
Yeah.
I think quickly just to build on what Fatima said, actually, it's just having actual goals, isn't there? Like, so I've just done my interim PMP, and some of the agreements and goals that I have there is just that, is to do what I've been hired to do. But then that shouldn't be a goal because that's what I was hired to do. So there should be something else. So, for example, I do the contracts globally for marine, but I shouldn't put that as a goal because that's what I have to do anyway. So, maybe my goal should be to make sure that I track so that people know what the status are of the contract. So the goals essentially should be, why have you done it, right? So you've done the contracts, but why? So just obviously to make sure you're compliant or whatever. But that's where we should maybe be focusing on, what does that give to the enterprise? So you doing your job, what does that bring? And then that should be your goal. Because if you're doing something and then there's nothing that's coming out of that, then there was just not much point. So I think your goal should be an actual goal, not be a daily activity. It should be at the end result of your daily activities. How does that then help the company? So maybe that should be more specified, if that makes sense.
Can you remind me here, for what it's worth, I worked in an organisation once where in our goals we only had our annual goals. We would never have business as usual goals. They would be something like something you're going to improve, something you're going to develop, and something you're going to, I don't know. They were actually a strong overlap between them all. I can't remember all 3 terms that we use now, but they were all about making a change and making something different. Yeah. Okay. Right. I've got just a couple more questions on this topic. So, in a real world, goals often need to change because we have an annual system at the moment, and of course goals, sometimes they're not relevant anymore or new ones need to come in. How do you feel about having changing goals throughout the year? Do you have changing goals throughout the year?
I think that's one of the reasons why it doesn't work necessarily goal setting doesn't work in supply and trading. It's because the market changes so much, it's unpredictable. And so, okay, you'll have your P&L goal, but you know, the projects that you're working on may change.